What's up, everybody? Good to be back. Welcome. I'm Dick. This is Dictate the Day. And we're going to talk about the fight this weekend. Oh yeah, UFC 321. Baddest man on the planet. We're talking about heavyweights. And the two heavyweights in question don't move like heavyweights. They really are the baddest man on the planet. Which one? Which one do you have picked? Put it in the comments. Let me know who you're going with. Let me know. With that being said, let's talk combat. It's good to be back, everybody. Good to be back. All right, let me pull up my little splitty here first. You know what I mean? Let me get it split up. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. All righty then. I was reviewing this fight. I've been, checking it out for a while. Watching all the different, social media posts, training videos, the embeddeds, you name it. I really am obsessed with this stuff. It's been a while since I put up a UFC video. I've been kind of focused on my normal theme of my channel, which is the craziest clips you could ever see. Check it out. That's what I normally talk about. But this is one of my passions and has been for decades of my life. Heavyweights are always super intriguing. Normally, you deal with someone with immense power. They have a tendency to fade fast when they're this big, which kind of creates the question this weekend. Because these guys move rather quick for big dudes, like I was saying. And especially Tom Aspinall, we haven't seen him fight for very long. I believe he has the record for the shortest time in the octagon, at least at heavyweight for sure, right? Never had to go past the second round. So, before we get into the head card and, put all our picks out there for the world to know, I was like, this is a pay-per-view and there's only 5 fights on the main card. There was 9 on the prelims, which will be free, faux show. So I was just going to do the 5, but I feel as if I have enough time. So let's go through the whole damn thing, shall we? Let's do it. We're going to start with the early prelims, and I'm talking about prelimishness. Damn, look at all that. Let me shrink myself down here so we can get into this. All right, first fight of the night in Abu Dhabi, the desert. Okay, check this out. I'm in Middle America, and that puts my view time, if you're in the Middle America area, 9 a.m. this thing starts, because it's on the other side in the desert. 9 a.m. prelims, and then 1 a.m. is the big dogs. The big money fights, the headlining fights, if you know what I mean. Okay, all right, let's get into this. I got notes. First of all, this is the actual UFC's website, but ESPN, I got my phone here in my hands. ESPN has this dope little thing here where you can pull up little extra information on the fighters. Okay, this is for this first fight, this Jacqueline Armrim and Mizuki. That's kind of cool, just one name. I think there was some kind of issue with updating her name on here. So they just went with the Mizuki. I think it's cool, man. It's like a superhero or something. All right, these are, like I said, the strawweight ladies. This Mizuki, if you look at her record, let me blow it up right here. Let me get some statimus. She is 15-6, whereas Miss Jacqueline is 10-1. Only tasted defeat one time. Strawweights, man, barely over 100 pounds. It looks like Miss Jacqueline here only has the one loss, only tasted defeat once. She's got a little bit of a reach advantage at 68 inches, whereas Mizuki has the 65.5. I've watched some of their fights. You know, if I was going with my gut on this, I'm feeling like Jacqueline is going to get this done. Her submission game is pretty good. I feel like Mizuki could do some things with striking in the beginning. I just don't know if she has enough, sit down on her punch to really create an issue with her opponent. So I'm gonna say Jacqueline here, and more than likely a decision. Just throwing that out there. That's what I'm thinking on this one. I did a little more research kind of at the end of the prelims, and then of course into the main card. So we're going to kind of breeze through these first couple. There is some I do kind of want to talk about. This next one, this flyweight, Azat Maxim, makes me think of the Maxim magazine. I was listening to the MMA guru talk about these dudes, and he mentioned about Mitch Raposa. They keep, even the commentators and the UFC, they're like, I don't know why they're trying so hard to make this guy a thing. I mean, he's in the UFC. He's, up there as far as combat goes. He is definitely trying to make a name for himself. I don't think he sucks by any means. But I feel like he kind of lacks what is needed to be a top tier, in the top 5, at least for now. Like, everything may have changed and he's going to surprise us. But if I'm going with all the research and the history, I just feel like this other dude, for one, he's from Kazakhstan. Okay, so you know what's up there. This Azat Maxim. And if you'll notice, he's got a little bit of height. He's got a pretty significant reach advantage on old boy too. And Mitch Raposa is a kind of a wrestling takedown style machine, likes to grind it out. But this dude right here, you're not going to grind him out. And we're talking about American style wrestling versus, that kind of wrestling. The wrestling that no one can really contend with if they're coming from anywhere in this part of the world. I almost feel like Azat can get this done for into the first round, beginning of the second. Maybe submission, possibly, or referee stoppage TKO kind of thing. Especially if Mitch Raposa is attempting takedowns. Azat, comes up with a reversal, ends up on top, gets him in a Dagestani handcuff or something, and then just starts bingada, 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 bingada. And then, of course, referee, defend yourself, and then it's over. It's over. Yeah, so I got Azat. Azat, probably getting it done pretty soon. And if for some reason this goes all 3, for sure, I feel like control time, octagon control, and damage is going to go to Mr. Maxim. All right, moving on. Here we go. All right. There is some interesting things about this heavyweight bout. And here's why one of the reasons the heavyweight, the big fight, the main card fight is such a big deal, because those two dudes, Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, are like great representations of heavyweights, especially athletic fighting heavyweights. And I don't mean just their body, okay? Because these dudes right here, the Egyptian gentleman, Hamdi Abdulwahab, sorry, these are going to be a little bit difficult. This dude's got some skill. I'm not going to lie. He's got, if you look at there, 6-1, 7 pro fights, 6'2", 264, 72-inch reach advantage. He's definitely, his skill level is up there. But he's kind of new, you know what I mean? Chris Barnett has been around forever. And he is super entertaining, if you will. He'll do some of the craziest stuff before the fight, during the fight, after the fight. Everything from a flip to where he lands on his butt. But that crazy stuff has kind of what I call the Johnny Walker effect, where, Johnny Walker went to drop down and do the worm and then messed up his shoulder and he was out for like a year. Well, recently Chris Barnett did the same thing. He was like jumping before a fight and he tore all the ligaments in his leg, just jumping up on the ground. And I mean, jacked it up. You can kind of see a little discoloration there. Well, this is his first fight back. Lots of unanswered questions. And, regardless of what you're doing training wise, and I don't know what his training is consisted of. Like, was he fully healthy enough to actually, push off of that leg? If you have knowledge about takedowns or anything of that, your sticks on the ground play a very important role, your base. So there may be an issue there. So with going with what I know, even though the experience is so much higher on Chris Barnett, he's just getting older, man. Rough and tumble and heavyweights. I know power is the last thing to go, but is he going to have everything he needs to get that power in the face of Hamdi? I have a question mark on this one because, to be honest, I love the entertainment quality of Mr. Chris Barnett. He's great for the sport. Wish he was in a little bit better shape. Kind of makes me think of Big Country Roy Nelson. He was amazing during his career, but just did not care about his body. And I'm not talking about the aesthetics, what it looks like. I mean, just on like a health level, an athlete level. But we will see. Once everybody gets in there and Bruce Buffer gets this thing fired up, we will find out. But as it stands for right now, I'm going to pick the Egyptian gentleman. It's Hamdi. And it may be a, decision kind of thing. Because if these boys get tired, luckily it's just 3 rounds. If these boys get tired, it's going to be a lot of holding each other up against the cage. We'll see, though. We'll see. I am here for it. All right, let's roll. Let's roll on. All right, Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Man, I don't know how I'm just now realizing Nathaniel Wood is 5'6". And Mr. Delgado is 5'11". Wow. Looks like Nathaniel Wood has double the amounts of fights. Experience is a thing, but wear and tear also is a thing. 145ers. That Nathaniel Wood dude he's hard. You know what I mean? Hardened individual. Thumps hard, stays in the pocket, gets hit hard, all those kind of wonderful things. Like I said, he's got double the amount of fights at a pro level. More than. And the wear and tear is a thing. He's also 32 years old. My boy Jose is 27. And I like the way he moves around. He's got this real crazy knee up the middle that shuts people down. And it's usually while they're in transition, like moving forward, moving back, in and out of the clinch, and then boom, right up the middle, like a quick jab, is this super powerful step-up knee. Featherweight bout, I'm going Jose. Jose's going to get this done. Yeah. Let me see what the odds are on this bad boy. Yeah, it looks like he's favored to win. He's favored to win anyway. Wow, they have this broken down all the way down for like total rounds. Fight goes the distance, whether it's a submission or not. Yeah, and Jose is favored all the way around. Looks like I'm going with the pickers. Yeah, Jose Miguel. Probably a Damn, if it goes to decision, though, it's going to be real close because this Nathaniel Wood, he's a tough mofo, bro. Respect to both these guys. Respect to all the fighters, man. If you're in here doing the dance, whoosh, hardcore. Freaking hardcore. Love it. I'm here for it. Blessings be to all of them. Blessings and prayers. Everyone's healthy when it's all said and done. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Johnny Walker, this is his broski, Walter. Interesting. Okay. I was doing some research. This gentleman was supposed to fight Usman's big brother. I don't know if it's age-wise, but Usman's brother's huge. Gigantic. Speaking of gigantic, he failed a drug test. I don't know the details on it, but he popped for something. I don't know. Some performance enhancing something. And, when you're training for one dude and you're building a game plan and you're getting set up and getting ready, if you've ever been in a sporting style fight, the mental game is such a big deal. It's huge. And it can be an extra stress, an extra weight to carry when that mental side becomes, a jar, if you will. He was training for a different person, a different fighting style, different dimensions, different size. Although Walter is freaking 6'6", 244 pounds, though. He's not pushing the 265 limit. The other gentleman over here, Louis Sutherland, I was watching some fights on him. He kind of reminds me of a more athletic, like Tank Abbott. If you've been around, if you're not just a cash and you've been, following the game since the beginning, kind of reminds me of a Tank. Super dangerous. Don't get me wrong. Danger zone. If you stand in front of him and you're waiting to get clipped. I was watching some old fight of his the other night as he was running forward, like attempting to throw combos. He stopped throwing the combo. Feet still coming with him, which is a great idea. Bring your feet when you're punching. And he was just throwing rights. Boom, boom, over the guys, whatever the guy was attempting to do, whether it was a strike or push him back, because both those things were happening. He just walked him across the cage, all the way to the other side, popping him with the same right hand. Bing-a-da, 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 bing. Dangerous dude. 10-3. You know what I mean? Record of 10-3. And he's from a good old England, aye? Here's what I'm thinking. Regardless of what mental capacity, because Walter's had some changes to the training routine because his opponent has changed and whatnot. And if you've seen any of his fights in the past, his jiu-jitsu is clean. And he does something heavyweights don't do a lot of these days. For one, is high-tier jiu-jitsu. But the leg submissions, the foot submissions. I got a feeling down in my fighter gut that Walter's going to do this probably in the first round before sweat becomes an issue. And he's going to attempt to show dynamic striking to get this guy committed, because this dude is definitely swinging for the fences, trying to take people's heads off, because that's his power. That's his comfort zone, if you will. His security blanket. But old Walter's gonna dip down and take one of them limbs off the bottom. Almost guaranteed. And he's big and he's quick and has a tendency to cause an injury before you get to tap. I feel like my psychic ability's teeing off on this one. Who is favored? I guarantee Walter's favored in this. Let me check the odds. Oh yeah, negative 400. My goodness. That's crazy. They got this dude. They got Louis Sutherland for a submission at a plus 2,500 on ESPN.com. Whoa. Wouldn't that be crazy if he dumps for a submission? I doubt he's going to get it on Walker, though. Okay, enough. Let's keep moving. Lots of stuff going on here. Lots of stuff. All right. Both these dudes, amazing athletic specimens of the sport, if you will. Let me flip my notes here. Right away, Abdul Karim is probably going to get this done. And it's probably going to be a close decision. They're both coming off a loss, as it says there. Let me check. This guy right here is entering his prime. This gentleman's only 24. You know. And there's something to be said about experience and coming into your man muscle, if you will. Not just that, but muscle memory. It's almost a pick 'em, though, to be honest. And I do have question marks because they're both impressive. I just feel like as far as like mature game goes, you know, all the boxes checked. I feel like Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. I know I didn't say that right, and I gave it a Hispanic accent. My bad. He's going to get this done. Probably squish out a submission. There'll be some close moments, probably up against the cage in the clinch, where, you know, Mateus Camilo looks damaged and then comes back or finds a way to get back to the center again. More than likely decision. All right, here we go. This was gonna be a banger. This one has. I mean, I know we're still on the undercard, but this dude. Why the name's got to be like this? That's the only reason I'm pausing. Mateusz Rebek. He gets messed up a lot. Lots of injuries. Once again, both these guys are both coming off a loss. But the Klein gentleman, let's just say Klein, shall we? Ludovic Klein. Mateusz Rebek. He gets banged up. His level of damage in the last few fights, I feel like I know personally that the damage that you acquire through chasing this sport, and especially at this level, he's already dealing with some of the repercussions, whatever that may be. Because I'm sitting over here almost 50 years old, and for the past 3 days, I've had this rib out of place, and this rib was originally pushed out of place by, in one of my jiu-jitsu matches, I was, man, this was in Colorado, and I was competing at heavyweight, and it was like, I believe my opponent was the sheriff of Denver, and not only did he dislocate one of my ribs, but he accidentally sliced my eye open in my eyelid so I could close my eye and still see through it. I know, it's a bit rough. But every once in a while, that rib gets a little crazy. And it's because he was transitioning on top with me with Neon Belly. And I was like 230 pounds, and he was definitely closer to the 260 area. And moving around real quick on top of me. It happened kind of in the beginning, first minutes. And I'm still dealing with it. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because this gentleman that has a similar hairline as mine, I have a little bit more in front than he does. I believe his damage is just too great, what he's experienced. And Mr. Klein is too well-rounded. Both these guys are grinders. Both these guys are going to get in there and, you know, let it fly. But I feel like maybe even a third-round stoppage, maybe even something so significant in the way of a cosmetic damage on this gentleman's face, because it tends to happen a lot. So he has a bunch of scar tissue that will reopen once again. Yeah, we're going Klein. Klein's getting her done. All right, let's move on. We got a middleweight bout. And every time I see this guy, Ju Young Park, I always think he's too old. He's too old to be in here. But that's not the case. He just looks that way because He's only 34. Yeah, no, whatever. He also is kind of entertaining as well. Maybe not to the caliber of the Chris Barnett, but he is entertaining. I believe his fight moniker is the Iron Turtle. That's kind of rad. But what he does lack, or what I've noticed he's lacked in the past, and maybe he's worked on it, maybe he's changed it, is his sit-down punch power. You know, he usually uses his strikes to get in for submissions. And his submission game is strong. But I really feel like once you get, Ikram to the ground, he's not going to allow any submission. Like, he's good. He's good on the ground. His stand-up is more well-rounded and enough to, definitely nullify Mr. Park's game. So this one's, I feel like this one's pretty easy. Let me check what's going on with the stats here on the fighter odds. Oh, yeah. Ikram is as it stands now, a negative 240. So, yeah. Faux show. He gonna win. He gonna get it done. All right, we're still in the prelims. We're almost done, and by God almighty. All right. Here's the thing. If you know anything about me, if you follow my channel at all, I love Aussies. I love Australia. I love the people. I love the land. I love the history. I love it. And I love the way this dude fights. And if this dude, Mr. Quillen, Scalid, you know who I'm talking about. He can get this done, and he can get it done in the first round. However, Nasrat, he knows, and I think he's going to be careful enough to let the first round happen, being defensive and carefully offensive. Damn, I want him to win though. I feel like it just has to be in the first round. But however you say this, Hakparast. If you look at his experience level, double the amount of fights. 5 losses, 18 wins though, however. I'm rooting for the Australian kid, and he can get it done in the first round. And he's a grinder, he's grimy, no quit in him. But yeah. Nasrat, if this goes past the first round, I think he's going to get this done. Depending on how grueling that first round is, maybe in the first minute and a half of the second round, there's a chance that Quillen can find his chin. But yeah, I believe the odds are basically repeating what I am saying here. Yeah. Well, they almost have it as a pick'em. And it could be. You know what I mean? It could. I'm pushing for the Australian, okay? But I'm trying to be common sense and give you some good picks here and give you all the information necessary. All right, so that's that. Prelims are now over, and here we go. This one right here, bro. The racket guy, Alexander versus Asmat Mursakanov. If you watch any tape on this dude right here, he embodies the Russian find your chin, big shots coming over the top of your shots, and he's accurate. He's light on his feet. These are, light heavyweight dudes, 205ers. And I'll tell you what, if you want somewhat of a prediction, if this gentleman, Rakic, is able to use his kicks and attack the lower body here of Asmat and protect his chin and, keep his awareness about him for the first round and a half, there's a chance that he could find his way to a win. But Asmat, he's a dog. And look, 0 losses. My pick for this, he's going to be 16-0 when this is done. I have a feeling there's going to be pressure all the way up against the cage. And this could probably happen in any round. And then somewhere up against that cage, a clinch and a bunch of strikes to the head. And then the referee's pulling him off because Alexander Horakic is not protecting himself enough. Bent over at the waist, getting his head jarred around. That's what the psychic in me is seeing. Dick's picks, everybody. Dick's picks. Get your picks right here. Dick's picks. All right. You heard what I said. Asmat, he gonna get it done. Now let us talk about his here. All right. Alexander Volkov and Gelton Almeida. Big dudes. Another heavyweight bout. A little bit better representation of our heavyweights here. I've been listening to Tom Aspinall talk about fighting Volkov because he's fought him before. And I guess Volkov's manager or somebody, because if you look at his stats down there, it says 6'7". Tom Aspinall says, hell to the no, he's 6'9". And from what I understand, he told his manager or somebody in the camp, like, when they want my stats, tell them I'm only 6'7", because I don't want to seem like a freak. Just own it, bro. Own it. And let me tell you what. Like I was saying, both these guys are good representations of, the heavyweight weight class and those caliber of athletes. But, and as far as like athleticism and, whatnot, Gelton, amazing. But I just don't think there's any way that he's going to, I just don't see him finishing Volkov at all. I see Volkov getting this done possibly in the first round. It could go to decision. And I feel like if it does, it'll be because Almeida decides to hold up against the cage because he's tired of getting hit by this dude with this giant reach. But as it stands now, I got Volkov winning. It could be a crazy knockout too. First round, first couple minutes. I am here for it. Let's go. All right. Volkov winning, moving up, and more than likely, if Tom Aspinall wins, he will be facing him again. I feel like, maybe at the White House, that big card. We'll see. All right, next. Interesting bout here. Umar Nurmagomedov, Mario Batista. Mario has been moving up the ranks. He's been looking real good lately. Definitely looking championship ready, but I just feel like Umar is too skilled, wrestling too good, definitely has the gas tank. Wherever Mario is good at, I just feel like Umar is a little bit better. And Umar's kicks, man, how fast that they come out and, touch you on the chin. I got Umar winning this fight. Yeah, and I don't think it's going to decision. But if it does, there will be enough control time by Umar and significant strikes that the decision would still go to my Russian fighter here, Mr. Umar. All right, let's go. Here we are. Co-main event. Women's strawweight. Mackenzie Dern versus Verena Jandiroba. I know I'm not saying that right. I apologize. It's not my strong suit. Names. Experience. Definitely going over here. The Brazilian. She has been grinding for a minute. And she's tough. Tough. Mackenzie, lots of experience as well. Been doing it since she was a kid. Her dad is, Megaton. And her jiu-jitsu is very clean. Her strikes have come up over the years. And the only reason that this thing is for a belt at all is because Wei Li has vacated to move weight classes. Because both of these ladies can't beat her. Wei Li Zhang is scary. But I really feel like I just feel like if Mackenzie Dern is not able to secure submission, she's not going to win this fight. And if she's hunting too hard for this submission, it's going to be too easy for the other young lady to counter and to not let her get into position because she's been preparing for it. I was watching some training on both of these, and it looks like, and I mean, you never know what the real game plan is because we're only seeing what they show us. Mackenzie has been definitely cleaning up in the striking range, looking real crisp, not a lot of setup, but putting them on point. Maybe Mackenzie's going to use that for her interest to set up the submission, maybe ring the bell a little bit, and then, I kind of want Mackenzie to win for future bouts and whatnot. But if I'm putting my brass tacks on this one, the Brazilian's going to get it done. Verena. Yeah. And it might even be a situation where Mackenzie goes for submission, then gets trapped underneath, and then she just blows her up with strikes, elbows, whatnot. And Mackenzie goes into turtle, and the referee's saying, defend yourself, and then TKO, it's over. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. When it comes to heavyweights, my brothers and sisters of combat, these dudes, and I know that's what everyone's been saying, they're so light on their feet, they move around, but it is impressive. Even with their size, they're so light on their feet. Cyril Gane, if we're checking off, good points, bad points, his striking, it's a whole nother level. Tom Aspinall's a great striker. Don't get me wrong. Great MMA striker. Cyril Gane, kickboxer, really has a great ability of using strikes, not for damage, but for putting his opponent in position for the damaging strike. He's sneaky with it, like just tapping, kicks and punches to get you where you need to be, and then he throws the power shots. Looks to get you damaged, and then he'll get you out of there. I have been watching Cyril Gane train. I have been watching more than anything his wrestling. And it's looking pretty good because I feel like if Tom finds that he can't reach Cyril because Cyril's being, better defensively, especially in the striking game, and then, Tom decides I'm submitting this dude, because that seems like an easy out because Cyril Gane's submission game does not appear to be that strong. I know he's been working on it, but his wrestling has really come up. So his anti-wrestling, basically, to keep himself up from the takedown. I know a lot of people are forecasting like a Kimura from Tom, and that's what's going to get the win done. And it could be. Definitely could be. We've never seen Tom Aspinall longer than the second round. This is a 5-round fight. If for some reason or somehow Cyril is able to force this thing into the later rounds, I think, hoping to make Tom so tired he can't, take him down or whatever. I just keep on seeing them down by up against the cage and then down by the cage, regardless of how that happens. And then it's like either an arm-end guillotine or an anaconda-style choke. And even though Cyril may know the reversal for that now, he can't turn his body over because they're up against the cage. Head and arm choke, something like that. Something. I don't know why I'm feeling that way. But as it stands right now, I'm going with Tom Aspinall. As we get close to this thing, I may change as I watch more tape. But everything is pointing to Tom on this one. And I tell you what, he is at a precipice. If he's able to win this thing in super impressive fashion, like everything I just said doesn't happen at all, and he goes out there and slips a jab at Cyril, which was just a probing jab anyway, and drops him, and then goes for the finish, and it's done in 42 seconds or something. Yeah. Here goes Tom Aspinall on the next biggest heavyweight crazy They'll probably put him on the card at the White House against John Jones. I know they're talking about that, but I just don't know about John Jones anymore actually competing in the game. And I feel like Tom Aspinall could be the kryptonite for John Jones. All right, no more talking about John Jones, because we don't even know if that's going to be a thing. But let's do a rundown. Definitely got Tom winning the headlining fight. Let me just run through them real quickity quick. Yeah. All right. For the prelim, first card, we got the Brazilian winning, Jacqueline. Second fight, we've got Asmat winning. I could see Chris Barnett getting it done, but I feel like Hamdy's going to be the one who walks away with the win. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Jose is going to get this done as well. I feel like Louis Sutherland just doesn't have enough skill level to stop submissions, and Walter Walker is for sure going to submit this dude early. The next lightweight bout on the prelim card, Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. He is going to get this done. Probably decision. Next one, the Ludovic Klein versus the Mateusz Rabik. Too much damage on the gentleman from Poland. Mr. Klein's going to get that done as well. Next, we have Ikram versus Jayon. And I just don't think Mr. Park has enough to get it done, especially on the ground where his submission strength is usually, his go-to. I just don't think he's going to be able to submit or out-wrestle or any of the things that he needs to do to win. And Ikram is going to get the win. Okay, next, we've got Nassarat versus Quillen. I want the Aussie to win, and it needs to be in the first round. Come on, down under. Let's bring it. Let's oge, mates. Let's oge, lads. But Nassarat definitely has the repertoire, the resume, and yeah. All right, moving on to the main card. I got the Russian. Another Azamat Murzakanov, whatever. So sorry, can't say that correctly. I believe he is going to get this done as well. Next, Alexander Volkov versus Jaitan Almeida. It's Volkov. It's Volkov all day. Ranked number 2 against number 5. Then we have Nurmagomedov. You know who it is. Umar versus Mario. I think Umar's still on the top of his game and gonna clean that house. He gonna get her done. Mackenzie Dern, number 5 versus the number 1 Verena. I just think Verena is too much. It's gonna be too much for Mackenzie. And I think Mackenzie's going to be focused on some kind of submission, and it's going to get her trapped on the bottom, and she's going to have to deal with the ground and pound elbows and strikes of the Brazilian. So, yeah, Mackenzie's out of there. And she will, Mrs. Verena will have the belt. Represent. Then we got the big one. Big boys. The big dance of the evening. Tom Aspinall. Faux show. All right. And that's it. We're at about 43 minutes. I appreciate y'all joining me today. I don't know why my mouse is working so slow. All right. Appreciate you checking out my picks for the day. May the rest of your day be amazing, everyone. I always end these things with a words of encouragement. The name of the channel is Dictate the Day. I will encourage you to take your day. I will be back to my regular scheduled subject matter as of tomorrow. I'm working on those clips right now. I love the UFC stuff. So I'm gonna, when I'm feeling inspired to do so, I'm gonna give y'all some UFC picks. I really do appreciate you though coming by, checking it out. Remember, if you're having trouble taking your day, spread your love, share your knowledge. And that can mean anything. And I promise you, it will help you in multiple ways. Give it a shot. I'm Dick. This is Dick's Picks. I'm going to dip. I will see y'all on the flip. I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. Stoked for the fight, though. Early morning stuff.